I'm Dr. Wendy Wilson. I have the pleasure of serving as the Vice President of University Relations and Chief of Staff here at Albany State University, and then also one of the co-points of contacts for the ASU Strada Initiative. On behalf of the Albany State University Strada Scholars Initiative, welcome to the President's Lecture Series. This is the first event in a new tradition created just for you, one that's all about preparing you for success, not only while you're here at Albany State University, but also after you graduate and step into your careers. Together, we'll explore self-leadership, designing your future with purpose, and getting workforce ready. To kick us off, we couldn't have asked for a better speaker this evening. We have the pleasure, momentarily, to hear from Dr. Penny Brown Reynolds. She's a nationally respected leader whose career has taken her across so many fields: television, law, the federal government, nonprofit leadership, and higher education. She has also served as a judge and a professor at Georgia State University, and most recently, she served as the acting assistant secretary for civil rights at the United States Department of Agriculture. Her journey shows what's possible when you combine hard work, resilience, and purpose. She knows firsthand what it takes to lead and to be ready for the workforce. And today, she's here to share that wisdom with you. Please give a very warm golden ram welcome to Dr. Penny Brown Reynolds.
Thank you, Dr. Wilson. Thank you, and the President in his absence. Oh, very good. Thank you. Our President is here. Why don't you give the President a round of applause? Thank you, and congratulations. Thank you for having me, particularly at this inaugural opportunity, and to the students, faculty, and staff, and community who's gathered here today. I have been asked to come and speak to you, and I've entitled it Work, Purpose, and Power, A Call to Lead. I'm going to begin with a story. It was early, so early that the sun had not yet come up. Years ago, the weight of a job that I served as the first African American to be the lawyer for a governor in this nation. I was in my 30s, and I was so excited, but it was a weight being the first. There was a knock at the door early in the morning, and it was the lady who cleaned the offices. She was coming by to get my trash pail. I got up to give it to her, and she closed the door, and then she knocked again and came back in. And she said these words, "Miss Penny, remember you're here for all of us." And I'm saying it the way she said it. Remember, you're here for all of us. That simple sentence reached deep into my soul. In a moment where I had begun to feel the weight of my responsibilities, when I questioned whether what I was doing truly mattered, her words reminded me of my purpose. They became my compass. They reminded me that the work I do was not just for me, it was for all of us. So for every person who dares to believe, for every child, for every young professional, for every professor, for every administrator who watches and waits for what's possible, for every soul who needs to know that their life has value, I'm here to let you know that you're not here just for yourself, but you're here for all of us. I come from humble beginnings. I'm the daughter of a single mother and the granddaughter of a hard-working farmer. I come from a family that believed in two things: the dignity of honest work and the unshakable power of faith. I know what it means to live with limited resources, but unlimited hope. I know what it feels like to carry the burden of expectation. You're the one in the family that everyone is counting on, to press on even when the road ahead is steep and uncertain. That's where I want to begin tonight. With the power of work, the gift of leadership, and the courage to keep dreaming. People sometimes look back at life and think everything was handed to me. They make assumptions about who you are. I did go on to have postdoctoral studies at the Harvard Kennedy School, but those doors were never opened for me because I didn't have a baton passed to me. I didn't have the particular pedigree that everybody thought, but I had my education. I had my bachelor's degree and a master's degree and a PhD and a Juris Doctor and postdoctoral studies, because in my era, education was everything. That's how you moved up the ladder. But let me be clear, nothing was handed to me. Every door I walked through, I had to knock on first. Every opportunity I had to work for. I've known what it means to do work that is unnoticed and uncelebrated. During my early days in law school, when I had to take several jobs, I cleaned the very courtroom that I ended up being a judge for. Took a part-time job, did what was necessary. I've worked jobs that didn't come with titles or accolades. I've done what needed to be done, not for the applause, but because that's what responsibility demands. And yet, I never saw work as punishment. Now, I'm talking to Gen Zs right now, because sometimes I think that you think, oh, when you have to go to work, that's a punishment. I never saw that. I saw it really as a privilege. Work gave me something priceless. It gave me dignity, but more than that, it gave me freedom. Every place I walked in the room, I knew from the moment that I got there that I had earned it. Not that I was entitled to it, but that I had earned it. It gave me choices. That's what your education is doing for you. It taught me resilience and built my character, waiting for my financial aid to come through and that refund check. Oh, you smiling, you know about that. That's resilience that you're being taught. Even when I was doing hard, gritty jobs, the ones nobody wanted to talk about, I was learning lessons that would serve me for a lifetime. So let me say this to every student, every young professional, and every dreamer in the room tonight. There is honor in work. Whether you're sweeping a floor or speaking in a courtroom, when you show up with excellence and integrity, you are preparing yourself for the next assignment. Your job is never just a job. It is a training ground for your purpose. So you don't look down on the work in front of you now. You operate in excellence right now for that. Embrace it, learn from it, grow in it, because how you do the small things determines how well you'll handle the big things. We're living in a time, as I want to talk to you about workforce readiness in this changing world. It's extraordinary times. The world of work is shifting under our feet, and we're all being challenged to adapt faster than ever before. We were just talking about a brand new president. Brand new president comes in with brand new ideas. It's going to challenge everyone, not from a negative standpoint, but leaning into change. My certificate from Harvard was in change management. And one of the things that we understand that comes with change management is resistance, because everybody wants to keep doing things the same way. But in this new world, this changing world, people who can lean forward into change will be the people that will be successful. The jobs many of you will hold 10 years from now may not even exist later on. Technology, artificial intelligence, automation, global economics. These forces are reshaping how we live and how we communicate, and most certainly how we work. And so the question becomes, how do you prepare for a future you cannot see? I am an eternal optimist. Now, one of the things that was not mentioned is I'm also an ordained pastor. So I have this belief in the goodness of people. I have a belief in myself that through my education, I've been equipped. I have a belief in everything that is better because I believe we are worthy of better. I am a whole person. I'm not broken. I bring to myself and to my career and anything that I have to do the ultimate essence of who I am. It's not a performance. It's my authentic self. I wake up every morning believing that today can be a better day because I get to choose how it is. Here's what I know for sure. Yes, technical skills matter. Degrees matter. I have enough of them, right? Credentials matter. But the most valuable asset you will carry into the workforce is your adaptability. You have to be able to adapt, to change. I was acting assistant secretary for civil rights, but I was also the chief EEO officer for the Department of Agriculture, over 100,000 employees. That was my last gig. Not bad, right? That's a big job for an agency that's been around for a century doing things a certain way. So that meant that as the leader that I am, I had to teach people about being adaptable because that was critical. Your ability to learn, to evolve, to solve problems in creative ways, that is what employers are looking for. That is what the future demands. Go take a course in conflict resolution because people are broken out here. And you're going to have drama on a job. And you have to have the maturity and the being seasoned enough to know how to deal with it. Think about my job as a judge. 50% of the time, people got what they wanted. The other 50% of the time, they what? They lost. But I was rated as a pretty good professor at Georgia State. I was instructor of the year. You go on that little thing that you all use. I got 100%. Students didn't always get A's. But I saw them and I heard them. And being adaptable means that when change comes, I go with the flow of the change. You get where I'm coming from? Everybody's with me, right? Okay. Because I don't want to just do a speech. This is a lecture, which is a little bit different. That means you have to engage with me to make me know that what I'm saying you truly understand. You must learn to work with people who think differently from you. That's the problem that we're dealing with the world today. I don't get caught up in cultural issues or social issues because we're all stagnant. We all watch one set of television stations and we all read only certain things on social media when we, the true intellect, the people who will go to the next level in careers, is you have to be able to deal with people, communicate with people who are different from you and how they think. We vilify one another too much. You walk a mile in somebody's shoes. You don't know what people have been through, what they're bringing to the table. But as students at this level, at this institution, an institution of excellence, you want to be able to walk into any workplace and be able to deal with anyone. You must learn how to communicate. Not just behind the scenes, but face to face, human to human. You must learn to show up not just with skills, but with character. Because your measure of your work is not your paycheck. It is the discipline, the lessons, the strength of character you carry into the next chapter of your lives. And that is what I want you to understand this evening. Whether you are doing whatever it is you have to do, You have to understand that there is a changing world. Employers want people who can think critically, who can lead teams, who can show up with resilience when things go wrong. I was reading some data that said Gen Zs and some millennials on the lower end of the age bracket do just enough to get by. They do the bare minimum. They're capable of doing more, but somehow they do just enough. They don't see long-term being on the job for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. They will be there 18 months. They'll be there 3 months. If they don't like it, they'll leave. You challenge them, they don't want to have to deal with it. That comes from a whole lot of things. I thought I had my cell phone with me, but I think I must have left it in the car. First thing you do in the morning, for me, I meditate. I gather my thoughts. I'm a woman of faith, so I pray. The first thing you do, you reach for that phone and you swipe. You're giving away your thoughts to someone else to see what they have to say, instead of formulating what my day is going to be, what I want my day to be. So the next time you get ready to wake up in the morning, I want you to remember me asking you, was the first thing you did was to swipe. To swipe. You're a generation that wants it quick. You'll see it because you're visual. And then you go into a position and you believe that in the real world, that's the way that it is. Sometimes it's hard. Sometimes you're asked to do things that's hard. You're going to be asked to do things that you may not necessarily agree with, but you have to understand and be what? Adaptable. Employers are looking for people with resilience. So if you're a first-gen student, do we have any first-generation students? Raise your hand. Don't ever be ashamed of that. Raise your hand of that. You're carrying the torch, that expectation. I understand what it means when you are that one. With all your hardships, stop looking at it as some burden that is on you, and look at the resilience that it has created in you. There's nothing that I could face. The worst things that have already happened to me. I found myself while I was in school in a homeless situation. I'd given my money to someone to pay my rent, and they failed to do that. And me, the Reverend Dr. Judge Penny Brown Reynolds, found herself without a place to lay my head. That was the best thing that ever happened to me. It was the best thing that ever happened to me because there is no shame in having a hard time. There's no shame in coming out of poverty. What it did was, it created resilience. It created for me to know that the worst thing that has ever happened to me has already happened. And there's no place else but up for me. Let me know that I am worthy of better, and that if I want better, I have to go out and I have to do better. I never come to have a job, I come to do one. Don't just ever walk into a place and whatever is the bare minimum, you do that. You excel in every way that you can, and we cannot use where we've come from as an excuse. We just can't. We don't have the luxury. Time won't give us that. It's a mitigating factor. I understand that. I used that when I was sentencing defendants. I'd look at maybe some of the issues they had to deal with. They came out of some extreme poverty. But at the end of the day, there's something that you have to ground yourself with the reality that you deserve better. And how you start off is not how you're going to finish. That you get to write those chapters in your life, and you've got to believe it. The professors are here to teach you. The administrators are here to make certain academically you can do what you have to do. Your parents are there to support you. Your grandparents, your family, the community. But at the end of the day, you have to find something deep within your soul that says, I am worthy of the life that I've been called to live. And so when you ask the question, is this my calling? I get, like after a talk like this, I get people emailing me, how do I know my purpose? When you wake up every day just remember that if you are doing the work that you know you are supposed to do, I'm a civil rights lawyer. I could go now and sit around and just, nobody has to ever see me again. I can be in Paris or in England or wherever it is I want to be, but I have a calling on my life that is greater than what I want to do, because I want to make a difference and a legacy that goes beyond just the meager life that I had. I want to change the lives of someone. And if I walk out of here today and one person's life is changed, that's what's mattered to me today. They're looking for good communicators. If you'll notice, you'll never hear me say, I trained myself not to do that. I want to be a master communicator. It wasn't a gift. I had to learn to do it. Preparation is everything. Everything. Whatever it is you want to be, you have to master it. And you never take it for granted. You study your craft, and I never speak about what I don't know about, just to be able to say I'm talking. I can't stand people who talk and they don't know what they're talking about. So you don't have to prove anything when you go on a job. What you want to do is study the job. So let's give an example, Dr. Wendy. If I'm going on an interview, right, because this is about workforce readiness, I would have reviewed the company, not just a cursory review, the people who are the CEO, everybody about it, who I'm interviewing with, everything that I would need to know. I would then study how to do interview questions, because interview questions are not like they used to be. When I got the job at the federal government, I had 8 interviews, and they were all panels over, I had 12 interviews over an 8-month period, and that didn't include the high-level security clearance I had to go through for the background check. And what interviews are now, they're intellectual conversations. They'll present an idea to you. If you had an employee that you saw was dishonest, tell me, what would you do? That's fine. Look in your past and tell me, what did you do before? It's intellectual questions. It's not just checking lists. And let me tell you, with artificial intelligence and interviewing online, it's going to be even more critical that you become critical thinkers, because we're dealing with the falsehood of people not presenting themselves. So you have to be prepared. By 2025, 50% of all employees will need reskilling due to technology. And over 40% of core skills required for existing jobs are expected to change in the next 5 years. That means whatever job you may have now, you graduate from school, in 5 years you're going to have your skills updated, because 40% of those will change. 70% of employers worldwide now rank resilience, you got that if you're first gen, I believe it, problem solving, collaboration, which we know collaboration is the new currency, right? And emotional intelligence are more important than technical knowledge alone. Credentials matter, but the most valuable asset you will carry with you, again, is your ability to think critically and, again, adapt. Your degree may get you through the door, but it's your attitude that will keep you in the room. Your degree will get you in the door, but it's your attitude that will keep you in the room. Try smiling sometimes. People with a bad attitude, you're not going anywhere. I used to hire law clerks. You can get the top of the class, right? Top 10% want to come work for a judge. I never even asked about their scores, because I figured if they graduated from law school, then it was smart enough. But it was the person with the attitude, the good attitude, the positive attitude. So you're counting on this degree from the great Albany State University. You go and get the job, and then you're the first person, you've been hired, but then you're the first person to get fired, because you don't understand that your attitude means everything. So what are we saying? Degree gets you in the door, but what? Keeps you in the room, in the important rooms. And the world doesn't need just workers who can complete tasks. We have AI to do that. They'll write your emails. They'll write you the best letters you ever want. They can do a lot of things. I'm really worried because as a scholar, I know how important critical thinking is. I think people who are on jobs at certain levels, executives and professionals, I think AI is perfect for that because we've already earned it. You know, let's pop that out. But for you all, that shortchanging of your intellect, I'm really, really concerned. Trying to take the easy way. We don't want to do that. We need leaders, people who can inspire, who can solve, who can pivot, and who can stand strong when the ground beneath them shakes. If you live long enough, you are going to have to deal with some problems. You ever had one of those weeks where everything that could go wrong, it seems like it would go wrong? I see the students are shaking their head. How long have you all been in school? A month? Is it already going wrong already? I don't have the right room. I can't get somebody on the phone. My financial aid didn't come through. I'm talking to my professor. I need an override. Because I mean everything. How you handle yourself and have a steadiness about you. This is the training ground for when you're going on your job. They're going to ask you about crisis. What was the last crisis you had and how did you handle it? That's the kind of questions you're going to have to do. So just know your resilience is being created here. So I challenge you tonight, don't just prepare for a job, but prepare for a lifetime of learning. I got my PhD at 59. At 59, I got it. And if I could go to medical school, I probably would do that. I got into both. I'm an eternal learner. I love to learn. Is anybody else excited about learning? Yeah, y'all better say that. The president's watching y'all and your professors. Because guess what? What did our families used to tell us back in the day? Your education, nobody can take it away from you. You want freedom? You want to be valued, you want to be seen, you want to be heard. I get so emotional when I just think about the power that I have and the freedom that I feel, not from my degrees, but the knowledge that I have that we live with all of our vast problems we have in this country. Nobody's going to stop you from getting your education. They can't stop you. Don't fall for anything other than the fact that you are worthy of your mind and how you process things and the intellect that comes with that. Build a toolbox that includes not just your major, but your mindset. I don't deal with negative people. My mother used to say, tell me who your friends are and I'll tell you who you are. You're running with a crowd. You know all those little sayings we used to say. You lie down with dogs, you'll get fleas. Remember? Y'all don't remember that? So, can I be real, Mr. President? Dr. Wendy, can I be real? I know that this is the big president's inaugural speaking time, but may I just get real with them? You're running with young people and they smoke marijuana. Oh, I don't do it. But they do it. There's a difference in the mind, my PhD is in criminal justice, there's a difference in the mind of someone who uses marijuana at this point in their educational growth. Now, when you're grown, you do what you want to do. But I am telling you that that is a spirit. Do you hear me? Complacency and mediocrity is a spirit. Now, I mean it in a different way than you may be taking it. Intellectually, what I mean is when you are around others, you tend to mimic that behavior. You're dealing with peer pressure, so you believe that in order to fit in, you have to do that. Well, guess what? To do all of the things that I've done, and been an author, and do all of those things, I've never fit in. I'm actually an introvert. I come in, I'm good at code switching. I have to do whatever. For those who don't know, you are not going to be the same person that you are with your friends when you are on your job. You're not a sellout, but yeah, let's clap on that. You can't talk the same way. You can't dress the same way. You carry yourself. You're not a sellout. What it is, you're a professional and you understand that you have to get things done. You can't play dominoes when everybody else is playing Monopoly. You have to play by the rules that you're dealing with. You have to, if you want to be successful. I'm here today to talk to you about work readiness, how to take that degree and use it to the maximum. Anything that I desire to do, even right now, I can do. I'm a child of the 60s, and I'll tell you where it came from. I was in a grocery store. It was segregation at that time. I had long pigtails. My mother looked like a lady named Lena Horne. If you don't know her, look her, Google her. Beautiful woman that back in the day you would call it passing, because she was fairer than I am, and she could look like she could pass for white. And we're in the grocery store, and I'm this little girl. My mother had an eye on me, Dr. Wilson. And this wonderful, well-dressed woman, I remember she had a little purse with gloves on, leans down and says to me, "Little girl, you are so beautiful. What are you gonna be when you grow up?" And my mother looked at her and she says, "Madam, I have you to know that my daughter doesn't have to pick one thing." We got in the car and she said, "Did you hear what I said? You don't have to pick one thing." And I believed her. And so what we do when you feel right now that something is wrong with you because you can't go down one lane, you don't have to pick one thing. Your education gives you the opportunity to decide. It's not that you're confused. It's not that. Some people cannot. If I had to be one thing, I don't know what I would do. I'm writing songs, I draw, I write, I do all manner of things because of my intellect. And you have it better than we do. We had the World Book Encyclopedia. All 13 volumes. And our parents, oh, y'all don't know what that is. It's like do you all still have the World Book in the library? Probably not. Well, we were the family that had it. The single parent with the grandfather who was a farmer. And we had it. So when people had school projects, basically you were writing what was in the books. I read from the beginning of that all the way to the end. I read the Bible from the beginning till the end. I read Roots from the beginning till the end. You couldn't take a book out of my hand because I knew then that with that World Book, I could go anywhere. You have a computer. You call it a phone. I don't even refer to mine as a phone. It is a computer. It is your key to the world. You have a computer with you all the time, so you absolutely have no excuse about anything. You don't. So I'm thinking in this time that I'm speaking to you, how do I get you to know what I know? How do I convey in the short period of time from the depths of my heart the power and the freedom that your intellect will give you and your attitude and your adaptability will give you? It's really about leadership and leadership as service. We deal with a situation where people are not curious enough. You need intellectual curiosity. You don't take a fact as being a fact, although we know what's been done to facts, right? You always go beyond that to see the origins. I always want to know, where did that come from? With my computer in my hand, I can do anything, right? I rarely use it to talk. It's my computer. And I'm one of those people that I'm talking to it. I don't even type it anymore. I'm just talking it out. Oh, let me tell you, the sun is shining today. Why is it shining? Whatever it is you want to know, we want you to have intellectual curiosity. That's going to be very important. Another thing you need is courage. You need courage to tell your friends, "I'm sorry, I don't smoke weed, I'm not doing that. I have exams tonight, I know it's a party, but I'm not gonna go." From what I understand, my goddaughter is just starting Harvard Law. And she's been there a few weeks. I know President Obama went to Harvard Law. And his colleagues are some of the professors that are there, and they believe in a very social kind of culture there because they have pass-fail. Did you know that? And Yale as well. They don't give grades. You get pass-fail. You might get a high pass or a low pass, but you pass. The hardest part of Harvard Law is getting in there. I didn't know that. She knew that. She knows that. But they said that President Obama was always in the library. He didn't do a lot of socializing. He just did a lot of studying. I wonder if back then, while he was studying, was he then preparing himself for what was to come for his life? Was he setting himself up for whatever it is, whether it is a deity of Buddhism or Allah or God or Jesus, whatever your deity might be? The steps of a person are ordered in a certain way, but you've got to be prepared. And he was preparing himself in the library. I was preparing myself. The PhD was difficult because if you were in criminal justice, you know that's statistics. Okay, I got some amens over here. My PhD's in the house, they understand. Oh yes, you know that it's basically that. Statisticians are very important. That's why I went into that area, because you can take data and make it say basically what you want, which is what's happening now in health and everything else. That's another story for another day. Nobody told me I had to do that. I could have stopped with the bachelor's. I could have stopped with the master's. I certainly stopped when I had the JD. What makes a 50-year-old middle-aged woman go get a PhD? Because I was retiring as a judge and I had to go do something else. And when they told me I could teach at Georgia State, I thought, yeah, it's nice to have a JD, but I want a PhD too. And my husband said, are you crazy? And I said, no, I'm not. I'm an eternal learner. And it got a little harder as I got a little older. Right now, you have the brain power, you have the energy, you don't have to worry about anything other than getting up in the morning and doing what you're supposed to do. This is that time for you to really see the benefits of your life. Don't listen to the noise. Don't worry about what the noise is saying. Don't get caught up in that. You're bigger than that anyway. You have destiny over your life. You don't have time for foolishness. You have to be very, very focused and determined about what you want to do. And you don't have to pick one thing. You could look at your president. You know, I did my research. He's been in corporate America. He's been at the institution. He's done many, many things. Now, to be here. Not sure if it was your dream. May have been. But you know what happened? He went where the opportunity led. That's where you go. You go where the opportunity led. But you can't walk through the door of opportunity if you're not prepared and adaptable and know how to deal with all kinds of people. That's the key that you have to do. When I think about leadership, I don't think about big offices or fancy nameplates. That kind of comes with times. I don't think about titles. I think about service. I had the opportunity to work in the White House. But if you go to the White House, the only people on the West Wing that has the offices are the president, vice president, chiefs of staff. Everybody else are in cubicles. Then the legislative building right next door, because the focus is on the president and the vice president. So it's not always about big offices and nameplates. It is about service. I've led from many places, from the courtroom, the bench, state government, my pulpit, and no matter where I've stood, I've learned that people don't follow authority. They follow authenticity. You go on with your big title, and you think that somebody is going to follow you just because you said so. You have the authority that's based on a position, but your authenticity. Now let's get that straight. Authenticity is not walking on the job and be a sister girl or brother man. Authenticity is when nobody is looking, do you have the character to be the same person? without shame. I have to stop for a moment and deal with trauma. Because normally, when it's coming out of our community, there's a lot of trauma. There's trauma that's been passed on. There are young people at this institution whose father is in prison right now. They may not know their father. Their mother is struggling. Health issues, diabetes, cholesterol, what we call high blood pressure. All of those things, that's trauma. That's where we want compassion from the professors to know that they are capable of this, but they're also dealing with trauma as well. And you have to recognize triggers. You have triggers. Mental health is an issue. Yesterday, I did a full day seminar with law enforcement. And I learned that in DeKalb County's jail, 70% of the people there are there because they're mentally ill. 70% of the people. I don't know if you get an assessment. This is a state school. I don't even know if private schools do it. But I suspect that you come with a smile on your face and people just don't know what you've been through. And I'm not talking about the personal traumas either, of all of the personal things that have been put upon you, and the fighting, and not knowing if you're going to stay here and be able to stay. I understand that. I believe that this institution understands that. They wouldn't have brought me here because they know how I talk. They know what I was going to be saying. They care about you. They care about your well-being. And maybe you don't think that, but when you have 6,700, Madam Provost, students, that's a lot of students. But what you have to do is take the initiative to let them know that you matter. And then you process your information knowing that you have trauma. Leadership, as I think about it, is also about trust. Say what you mean, do what you say, and be consistent. Timeliness is big when you enter the workforce. My mother used to say, if I'm there 15 minutes before, I'm already late. You have to predict that something could happen on the way. I came here from Atlanta. I've been here since 2:30 today because anything could have happened. You were counting on me. My word means everything. My brand means everything. So when we're talking about brand, what do we mean? It is consistently being who you want the world to know you for. For me, I am first and foremost a woman of faith. I make no apologies for it. It is my power source and my superpower. I am confident but not arrogant. I walk with authority because I am prepared. I never underestimate. I could talk to two people here. And I have to tell you this quick story. It's not on my script, but I have to tell you this quick story before you go. Back in the day when their websites came up, everybody was getting these wonderful websites, right? And so I would vet it, and somebody asked me to come and preach at their church, and it was this beautiful website. So I get in the car, there is no GPS, you know, you're just using the little map, and you get there, and I'm riding up and down the street because I'm looking for this beautiful church that I saw on the website. I saw the address, I pulled in the driveway, so I said, there must be an issue. People come out on the front porch of the house. This is in Bankhead, so anybody who knows Atlanta, you know where I was. And I come out and I said, yes, ma'am, I'm looking for the da-da-da, we'll just say the da-da-da-da-da Baptist Church. And the pastor at the time came out and he said, it's us. And if you don't want to stay, you don't have to stay. But it's our anniversary. And we've been watching you. By the way, there's a show called Family Court with Judge Penny. Anybody know about that? That was a television show that I did. It's on Peacock or something, now if you want to stream it a little bit. And watch that. Remember, I do anything I can dream of doing, correct? I went into the house. There was the pastor, the pastor's wife, his 3 children, and the mother-in-law, and the cousin was on a keyboard. And I stood there, and I preached my heart out with everything that I had. When it was over, they gave me $15.83. And I was on television at the time. I just won an Emmy nomination. And I remembered that lady telling me that you're here for all of us, that there's honor in everything that you do. Even before that lady, my grandfather was a farmer and picked me up in his red pickup trucks. He was the one who sold the watermelons on the side of the road. Picked me up after dance practice and band practice, and there he is in front of all my friends with all of those watermelons in that red truck. I was embarrassed. He got out of the truck to get me in, and maybe he could just see it on my face. And he said, "How was your day, Penny Marie?" And I said, "Sir, it was fine." And he said, "I want you to hear me about this. Whoever feeds you controls you. I work the land, and I'm proud to do it. And as long as you live, don't you be ashamed of any place you have come from." So it goes all the way back. For me, that's where I say I walk with confidence and not with arrogance. So no matter where you've come from, whether you were on Section 8, whether you came out of a rental house, whether you had 2 parents and lived with a picket fence, nothing around you gets to define who you are. Your very humanity does that. Leadership is about using your gifts to make life better for others. All of you have gifts and talents, and you want to be able to use that. Leadership is not about power, it's about stewardship. It's about what you do with the influence that you're given. True leadership is measured by how many people you serve, not how many people serve you. I'm going to close on this because I want you to have enough time to ask some questions. And I know that Dr. Wendy said that some students are going to have to catch a bus to leave. But I want you to, again, to begin to dream. I am a what you call acolyte of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. That means I've read every book that he has ever written. Took me 5 years. Watched all of his speeches, books, speeches, everything. I am an acolyte. I was ordained and licensed at the Ebenezer Baptist Church. Dr. King is my hero. Great intellect, but he merged the being of who he is with changing the world, but he dreamed. Because somewhere along the way, the world taught us that dreams are childish, that dreaming was for the naive or the unrealistic. But tonight, I want to tell you that your dreams are not fantasies. I had a chance to speak with the Strada students beforehand, and one by one, I wanted to hear about some of the things that they planned on doing. Some sheepishly said it, but I believe that after tonight's talk, they will say it with boldness and with clarity. Because tonight, I tell you that you're here creating the blueprint for your future. They're not flights of fancy, they're visions of what is possible. I've met too many people, young people, who dream big but doubt themselves even bigger. They've been told they're too poor, too young, too black, too female, too this or too that. But let me tell you that your dream is not too big. Your dream just needs discipline. Your dream just needs purpose. And you have to tie it back to your roots. So don't shrink your dream to fit your current circumstance. Stretch your circumstance to rise to your dream. And never allow fear to be louder than your faith. A dream without purpose fades, but a dream with purpose can change the world. I will always carry with me the words of my grandfather that said, "Whoever feeds you controls you, and don't you ever be ashamed of where you came from." With that cleaning lady who I dedicated one of my 5 books to, when she said, "Miss Penny, you here for all of us." In that moment, I knew that she knew that I had the weight of the world on me. But she was sent on that day to remind me that it wasn't about me and my ego and what I was dealing with. Those words changed my life, and now I pass them on to you. Whatever you choose to do, whether you become a teacher, an artist, an entrepreneur, a professor, a policymaker, or anything in between, remember that your gifts are not just for you. Georgia doesn't need any more workers. We need visionaries. Employers need truth tellers. We need people who are compassionate leaders. Not just with your resumes and your GPAs, but with courage, with purpose, and a belief that the world can be better because you are in it. Remember what I said. I didn't come to have a job. I came to do a job, and I believe you can too. Thank you. Thank you. Now,
Scholars, faculty, staff, ladies and gentlemen, give her another round of applause, please. So 2 things, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Absolutely outstanding.
Thank you.
So I oftentimes take a lot of liberties with my role. And so typically I would ask President Scott to come and bring remarks, but I actually gave him an assignment. Hopefully he remembers his assignment. Okay. While he's coming to the microphone, please, 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 this is our inaugural presidential lecture series for this academic year. And so I think we did a really great job in terms of our selection. I'm a little biased though. So if you could share your thoughts on it. I'm going to ask Dr. Scott to come forth. Our whole theme throughout this lecture series is going to be on leadership, workforce preparedness, and readiness, because we have the responsibility of educating you holistically. And so we need to prepare for your journeys post-degree completion, and it starts today. So in doing that, I want to share with you, through Dr. Scott, a story that he shared, and it was so timely. I said, I need you to share that with our students on Wednesday at the Presidential Lecture Series. But it's about seizing the moment. It's about taking advantage of opportunities as newly minted professionals. So not even then, the young man, Dr. Brown Reynolds, noticed his attire. So it's important to know that let me ask you this question, when is your next opportunity going to arise?
It's right
now.
It's right now.
Right now. And so he stood out with his attire, and so you don't know what could come from that. So Dr. Scott has an amazing story that he absolutely must share.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you. So first of all, thank you, Dr. Brown Reynolds. Absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. And for the students and the faculty and the staff who are here, it is these moments, these micro moments, that can shape your future, can shape your career, can shape your life. I remember when I was a young student, not really, maybe a junior, I had a speaker come to Norfolk State, very similar, a guy named Howard Adams, PhD, is what he used to call himself, Howard Adams, PhD. And he's talked to us very similar to the conversation you had today. And he planted nuggets in my mind during that session, about 2-hour session, just like tonight. Just like tonight. If I closed my eyes, I would imagine myself as a 19-year-old sitting in a room like this with Howard Adams saying the exact same things. And they shaped me. They shaped me. And one of those examples of how they shaped me is what Dr. Wilson is referring to. And I didn't always give Dr. Howard Adams, PhD, credit for a lot of my success. But I am absolutely the person I am today because a person came by Norfolk State and spent a couple of hours with me. It changed me. It changed me. This could be your moment of change. Those micro moments that happen to us. So the story I told my cabinet, was my cabinet? It was my cabinet. The story I told my cabinet a few days ago, we were talking about those moments in your life, those micro moments where you don't know that the decision that you're making right now is going to have such a profound impact on what you're going to be doing moving forward. So I was a young professional. We're talking about workforce. And I'll tie it back to Dr. Adams. What Dr. Adams got me to believe, he got me to believe that I was going to be successful wherever I was. He got me to believe that I was a leader beyond my own belief. I grew up on a pig farm. I had free lunch from the time that I went to school to the time that I graduated. The teachers had to give me books because we didn't have any money. So I had no idea what my future could look like. Had no reason to believe. Howard Adams started telling me, you know what, Robert? I grew up in Suffolk. I used to live on a pig farm. He just started making me believe. So I'm a young professional. I had just started my life and my career at a place called Procter & Gamble. Anyone know Procter & Gamble company? No? It was one of the largest consumer product goods companies in the world. Tide, anybody wash with Tide?
Yes.
All right, anybody get sick and take Vicks, NyQuil, DayQuil?
Yes.
Anybody like Febreze?
Yes.
Anybody brush their teeth with Crest? So it's that company. And so I'm a newly minted scientist. And I'd been there for not more than a week, maybe 2 weeks, newly minted. And I was trying to impress people because Howard Adams told me to always stand out. I was getting to work at 6:30 in the morning. And for about 3 days, I would get to work at 6:30. My phone would be blinking. I'd pick it up, hit 0, listen, and there'll be a call. Robert, this is John. Call me. I said, wow. No one could really know me. It got to be the wrong Robert, so I ignored it. Second day. Hey, Robert, this is John. Give me a call. Not me. Third day. Robert, this is John Pepper. Give me a call. I said, uh-oh. I'm clearly getting someone fired. I said, okay, what to do? Be a leader. So I picked up the phone book. And at that time, there was no, you're rifling through the company phone book. So I'm rifling through the company phone book. John, Pepper. Guess who John Pepper was? He was the CEO. The CEO of the company. The CEO of a $200 billion company. I said, okay, what do I do? I picked up the phone. I said, I'm going to call John. Just naive enough and enough belief in myself to feel like I could pick up the phone and call the CEO as a newly minted nobody. I picked up the phone. It rung. It was 6:30, 6:45 in the morning. I never expected Mr. Pepper to pick it up. He picked it up. I said, he said, John speaking. I said, Mr. Pepper? He said, yes. I said, well, my name is Robert Scott, and I think you've been calling for a different Robert Scott, but you've called me 3 times in the last couple of days. I just want to say that I'm sorry I didn't respond early, but I wanted to take advantage of it and introduce myself to you. And he just started laughing. Ha, ha, ha. He must have huge hands. I heard his hand hit the table. He said, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it when young people take the initiatives. He said, you know what I want to do? He said, don't worry about that. I'll take care of it. I want you to come by and see me. And for about the next 6 to 8 months, I was going downtown Cincinnati, having breakfast every week with the CEO. Wow. And in those moments, he's just pouring into me, pouring into me, pouring into me, pouring in. So you ask yourself the question, why have I had so many different successful careers? Because I believe I can do anything. There is nothing that I don't believe that I can't be successful at. Nothing. Mr. Pepper told me every day we had breakfast, Robert, you can do it. Imagine one of the most powerful men in the country telling you can do it. This is what you should do. This is what you do. I thought it was going well. I never thought twice about it. One day I'm in the restroom. You know, guys stand up when they're using the restroom. So I'm in the restroom. And the vice president come stand beside me. And he said, "Your name is Robert." I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "I understand you're having breakfast with Mr. Pepper." I said, "Yes." He said, "I understand things are going really well for you." And I said, "Thank you." Now, why am I telling you this? It's important to show up every day. There is no day that you can take off from showing up. I got promoted at Procter & Gamble faster than anybody who had ever been promoted at Procter & Gamble. I got promoted twice in 3 years. Now, was I smarter than anyone else? Probably not. I just showed up. I took the initiative. I was a leader. I wasn't afraid. I didn't let my background of who I was growing up dictate who I was going to be in the future. And that lessons that Mr. John Pepper taught me has followed me forever. You cannot convince me that I can't be successful in whatever I want to do. And if you believe it, it'll just start happening. And then you get data points. I have enough data in my life now to tell me I can stop and go do whatever I want to do and get the same level of success. So take advantage of these moments. Tonight is an important night. I want your tonight to be the same night that Howard Adams, PhD, had for me. The exact same night. Embrace the message. Embrace the lessons. Hold on to them. Write them down. Don't forget them. Because they will impact you. 5 years, 1 year, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. I still remember the messages from Howard Adams. I often, when I give a me in a minute, introduce myself, I show my dream team, 5 people who shaped my life. The first person I talk about is the man who spoke to me 40 years ago, Howard Adams. This is your opportunity to have your version of what took me to my future. So thank you, Doctor, again. I appreciate you. And students, this is the first of the presidential lecture series. We're going to have more of these. They're for you. They're for you. Please take advantage of it. With that, again, thank you. Okay? And thank you guys for joining.